Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers with another running shoe versus. In this comparison, I'm going to be looking at the Nike Vaporfly 4 and the Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. Let's take a look. The Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo costs £240 or $270. It weighs 158 grams or 5.6 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 5mm. The Nike Vaporfly 4 costs £239.99 or $270. It weighs 171 grams or 6 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 6mm. The Metaspeed Sky Tokyo is a high-performance race shoe made for runners who increase speed by opening up their stride. It's designed to provide increased efficiency when runners take longer steps, helping you to hold your pace longer into a race. Inside the midsole, there are two foams working together. On the bottom, there's FF Leap, a light and bouncy foam that cushions landings and gives you a high level of energy return with each push-off. On top of that is FF Turbo Plus, which adds responsiveness and improves the support of the ride. Compared to the Metaspeed Edge, which is built for high cadence runners, this version has a thicker midsole up front and a higher plate position. Other features include a lightweight Motion Wrap 3.0 upper, an Asics grip rubber outsole that provides grip on a variety of terrain, and secure fitting laces. Nike has made some big changes in the fourth version of one of the world's most popular race shoes, aiming to focus development on producing a noticeably lighter shoe than its predecessors. That's been achieved by trimming the outsole, midsole and modifying the upper, removing around 5mm of stack height compared to the Vaporfly 3. Nike also says that the ZoomX foam used is lighter than the previous version, and the carbon fibre plate is positioned at a higher angle than that used in the Vaporfly 3, which works alongside a lower heel-to-toe drop to improve the propulsion of the shoe. The upper is made from a lightweight engineered mesh with a new reduced sized heel and tongue, and the outsole sees a thinner layer of rubber across the length of the shoe. So the fit for me in these two shoes, when it comes to carbon plate race shoes, you normally assume that there's probably a little bit of a leaner fit on them. They're designed to be lighter, smaller. The race day fit is more of a lockdown fit. Both of these are actually pretty good. So there's plenty of space before my toe in both of these shoes, and actually for race shoes they're fairly roomy. There's plenty of space in the forefoot in both of them for me. Midfoot's not bad lockdown at all for a race shoe, and both of them have a very nice but little bit of padding around the heel section that works very, very well. They've both got very thin tongues, but they do feel very comfortable to run in. So yeah, I'd definitely say stick to your size in these shoes. Okay, so two carbon plate race shoes that are similar in some ways, but there's definitely a lot of standout things between these two shoes. So the Vaporfly 4, there's been quite a lot of changes in the last couple of versions of the Vaporfly. The Vaporfly 3 got a lot softer, a bit bouncier. Some people like that shoe. I didn't like that shoe. I much preferred the Vaporfly 1 and 2 to the Vaporfly 3. It just felt like it lost a little bit of the speed. Just felt less punchy. It just felt a bit slower to me. And the midsole just didn't seem to have as much. It wasn't giving as much back. Vaporfly 4 has changed quite noticeably from 3. There's less stack height across the shoe. It feels like a shoe that is leaner, lighter, and definitely it feels very nippy. But I think now that it's become more of a shorter distance shoe. I know we've got the Streak Fly for those sort of 5k distances, but it definitely feels like a shoe to me that feels light and quick on the feet. I actually used this for a track mile a while ago, and it felt very good for that, just because I wanted something really, really light on the feet for that. But it doesn't feel like a shoe that particularly has a lot of bounce in it anymore. It feels like a more a shoe that has a nice bit of kick to it from that plate and the ZoomX, but doesn't feel like a really bouncy shoe that I'd use for longer distances. Definitely, there is a clearer distinction now between the Alphafly 3 and the Vaporfly 4, whereas before those shoes, the Vaporfly and the Alphafly, were sort of competing, and a lot of people would struggling to choose which one to get. I definitely say now that this is a shoe more for those sort of 10k, half marathon. If you're a seasoned runner, it's probably absolutely fine for a marathon, but for me and the style of running that I do, I would not go for the Vaporfly 4 over the half marathon distance. I'd go for something a little bit bouncier, like the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. Now this, I think the Metaspeed range, I've only tested the Skies from the last few versions, but this really is the biggest improvement, all of those. I've always been a fan of the Metaspeed series, the Sky Paris. I really like that shoe. It just didn't stand out. It wasn't one of the top shoes on the list for me. Now it really feels like it's right up there at the top. I've raced in this a couple of times now, and I've really felt that this shoe there's just a little bit more bounce in it. It just feels the turnover just feels a bit quicker, and it just feels like a shoe that is really like the top 3 race shoes out. It's very comfortable to wear. It definitely, even though it's very, very light like the Vaporfly 4, that midsole just feels like you can do a marathon nicely. It's definitely a more versatile shoe now than what Vaporfly 4 can do, and just feels very, very comfy on the feet. The energy return in it is more noticeable than the Vaporfly 4, and all in all, it's just a really, really impressive fast shoe that ticks all of the boxes when you compare it with a lot of the other carbon plate shoes out there at the moment. So yeah, I think the real difference from this really comes from the energy return and that bounce that you get from it as well. I think it just feels like this shoe's doing a bit more than the Vaporfly 4. There's not really anything the Vaporfly 4 does that I feel is above what you get from the Asics. So that's the major difference for me on these two shoes. I've raced in both of these over 5k and 10k distance now, and I just felt like I think over 5k you're not really getting many different benefits from each of these shoes. Either one's absolutely fine for me over 5k, and I've ran pretty similar times in it. Over 10k and further on, I think that the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo just feels like it's just doing more. It's just helping you out a bit more. You're just getting a little bit more efficiency in that midsole, and it's just a superior shoe when you come to that sort of faster training over longer distances. The outsole on the Vaporfly 4 is very good actually. So this front section is really, really thick and impressive, similar to what you get on the earlier Vaporflies. And the back section, now Vaporfly 3, I actually ripped the rubber off, I think within 5k of a race, which was upsetting because I bought those shoes and they did not last very long. This is lasting quite a bit longer, so there's a little bit of wear and tear on this back section here, but it seems like these rubber sections at the back are a little bit sturdier than what you get on the previous version. The Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. So one thing I like about this for my style of running, because I destroy most super shoes, is that the front section is connected to the back section of the shoe. So if you run on the side of your foot a little bit more, then you get this extra layer of protection. So I've had no issues at all on that. It's absolutely fine. Not been rubbing, not destroyed it yet. And this section's fine. It's probably got less rubber on it than is on the Vaporfly 4 to make it light, but it's pretty good outsole for racing in, and it's fairly good grip as well. It's quite a nice level of grip, same as the Vaporfly 4 base. I'd probably say Vaporfly 4's got a better front grip on it, but they're both absolutely fine, and I prefer this section of the way that Asics designed the outsole. Okay, so my verdict between these two shoes, very, very easy. I'm going to go for the Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo all the way, as you probably guessed. The reason being that there's just more to this shoe. It just feels like you can do any distance in it, and it is spot on. It just deals with every distance perfectly. It's got a nice bouncy midsole in it. It just feels like it's giving you loads of energy back, and it still feels really light and quick as well. It's not a shoe like some carbon plate shoes where you would want to save it for a marathon. You could use this for any distance, so it's a really good option if you want it for racing from 5k all the way to marathon, and that's coming from somebody who doesn't particularly like using lighter, leaner shoes for marathon distance, but like the Vaporfly 4, I wouldn't use this for a marathon. It's fine, it's light, it feels responsive, it feels like you get a kick from that combination of the plate with the midsole foam, but it just doesn't feel like a shoe that would help me over longer distances. It just feels fast and nippy and quick, but for a marathon distance, I think I'd want something with a little bit more bounce in it and a little bit more energy return, which I don't massively get from the Vaporfly 4. I think the Vaporfly 4 is becoming a bit of a specialist shoe now, and for certain distances. Not a bad shoe, but I think for the price, it's definitely, you're not getting versatility, which is what most people want. So yeah, these two shoes, I'm going for the Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo all the way. That's it from me on this Versus. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that little bell. And if you go to catch and blow, you can find it to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.